Hi, I'm Amanda Marie Miller, and this is Theaterly's series Drinks with a Dramaturg. Today, I'm here at Glass House Tavern, chatting with Raja Featherkelly, the choreographer of A Strange Loop. Hello, congratulations on A Strange Loop.
Thank you.
It's so good, it's so fun.
I think so too.
Well, I'm so glad to be here with you. You are having a very busy season. So first with On Sugarland, Suffs, and now A Strange Loop.
Yes.
How do you keep all of these projects separate in your brain?
Maybe I don't, which is probably a good thing. I guess I do and I don't. Schedule is a big part of it. I really keep a firm schedule and I show up where I'm supposed to be, and that helps me know what I'm supposed to do. You know, it's like, okay, this is On Sugarland time, so focus on the rowdy, focus on behavior, focus on expression. Then it's Suffs time. You're like, okay, 19, female identifying folks fighting for the boat, right? Like, do that, and then it's Strange Loop time. Big black and queer ass American Broadway show. Activate.
Yes.
Yeah.
So with A Strange Loop, this has been a long-awaited journey, and I know so many people are just glad to have it here. Talk to me about your beginning with this project. How did you come to it?
Yeah, so I believe it was around 2016 or 17. That's when I started doing more work in theater. I have a dance company called The Feather Theory, and I make and do work for them. And people were like, you need to meet Michael R. Jackson, you need to meet Michael R. Jackson. And I'm like, okay. And I went to see Michael do a cabaret performance of White Girl in Danger at Joe's Pub, and went up to him and I said, hi, my name is Raj. He's like, I know who you are. People said I have to meet you. And I was like, well, people are saying I have to meet you. So it was a kismet moment of meeting. And then he was like, I'm having a reading for A Strange Loop tomorrow with the director, Stephen Brackett. Can you come? And I was like, I can't. And he was like, I really want you to see it. Like, what can we do to make sure that you can be there? And so we figured it out, and I attended a reading the next day for A Strange Loop and fell in love with it, and essentially told them, if anyone else choreographs this, they're gonna ruin it, so I have to do it. And I haven't left the side of Michael R. Jackson since.
You're stuck together now?
Yes.
So let's talk about the expectations of working on something new, something that is evolving with every iteration. Is that intimidating?
Not at all. That's kind of where I feel is my best work is done in that way. Having a company and directing and choreographing for them, we're a devised company, so we make things on the spot. That's sort of where I think my good spot is. So when something's in the process of developing, I love to be there as a person who's involved with the dramaturgy, the person who's involved in the aesthetic. I really love giving and learning as much as I can about the production, and I think that serves how I choreograph.
So as you're involved with these iterations off-Broadway, headed to DC, how has your work kind of shifted? Or do you really focus on keeping it the same over time?
I am a person who layers. So even in one production, I will put down some base material, and then the next day I'm like, what if we added a little more? And then I'll speak individually to each performer, and I'm like, what if you added something there? What if you added something there to really start to, it's like when you're building a garden, you have a tree, and then you're like, oh, I'll put a shrub here and a shrub here, and then some flowers and some more flowers. Then what if I put a little, ornament here? And that it just sort of then becomes a whole bouquet of information. And with each iteration of A Strange Loop, that has been my journey. It's like, I'm just gonna add another layer and add another layer. Or if I've learned something new about a character or about the performer, I wanna turn the volume up on that. So I'm like, I've learned this about you and the way you move and the way your character's developed. What if we added some more gesture, or we added some more flair, or added some more choreography in order to bring that out more?
Right.
Yeah.
So with your metaphorical garden, what are the first questions that you ask when you meet Michael or you meet Stephen? What are those first moments in a conversation?
Yeah, I have a keen interest in the popular culture of any given time.
Yes.
And so I'm often asking for references. Mm-hmm. I'm often like, well, what is this? If this were a Britney Spears song, what song would it be? If this were a Kanye album, mm-hmm. which Kanye album would it be? If this were a Disney movie, what Disney movie would it be? Things like that give me texture and flavor, and then I start to incorporate that into just how I think and approach movement, behavior, staging, color,
Yeah. So, do you have any that you'd like to share?
Yeah. So something that was really exciting for me with the opening number of A Strange Loop intermission song is Michael and I both were like, it's the opening number to Beauty and the Beast. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no one I think would, and this is how I knew we were like gonna be great friends, which we are, but there was something where we connected on like, yes, the idea that there is, a town, a village of people who are creating every moment for this, one character to move through, and that it feels magical, like an arm can bring up a light and someone turning can swirl on another group of people coming in, and that it all feels like anything could happen. Mm-hmm. And when I believe my understanding is and my feeling is when I'm watching Beauty and the Beast, that opening number, you're like, anything could happen. People are screaming out windows, people are jumping over jump ropes, there's pigs, there's, dogs, there's color, there's fabric, there's eggs, there's chickens, and I want that sense of sharpness and surprise to be that opening number of A Strange Loop.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Coming and going.
Yeah, just coming and going, and like weaving in and out, and people coming together, separating, people seeing each other. There's so many details to the opening number as they're trying to figure out what Usher is going to do and where Usher is going and how the thoughts participate. We really lay down the foundation of language that's used throughout the whole show in that opening number.
Right.
Yeah. Of course, we save some surprises, but it really does. I think the more we add, the many directions we can go later in the show.
Yes, a good groundwork for it.
Yeah.
So that pop culture and some Disney kind of inspired A Strange Loop. What keeps you inspired in general?
Well, what's exciting about what Michael has written is that as the world changes, the show changes. Mm-hmm. And not everything is that way, but A Strange Loop is. And so each time we approach it, even on a day-to-day basis, I'm like, I have this feeling of excitement because I'm seeing the show differently again because of a cultural event. Mm-hmm. So then I have to think about how to reference that if it's necessary, or how something is playing against that in the show. How a moment is playing against what's happening culturally feels very exciting to contour or to liven or to disavow.
All right, so in your work as a choreographer, do you have any sort of checklist to make sure you're getting everything wrapped in?
Yes and no. I think my checklist is based on the performers. I think I really look to them as my barometer for if everything is there. If they are connected, if they have something to do always, if they're experiencing what I think and what I think they should be experiencing, joy, disdain, antagonization, is that a word? Like being at, as long as that tension is there, then I feel good. And I get that from, and I feel like I have relationships with the lighting designer, with the sound. I'm like, how are we all working together to make sure that the piece is like electric? Yeah. And if I'm not feeling that, then I know something is missing. And if I am feeling that, then I'm like, I like to be surprised myself. So there's sometimes information that I'll give performers where I'm like, I don't know how this is going to show up in the work, but take this thought, take this idea, take this kernel of surprise, and let's see what happens. So then when I'm watching the show, I'm able to experience something new as well, and that keeps it electric for me. And that's I feel like that's the one check that
Yeah.
I'm an actor is like, is it electric? Is it electric? It's electric. It's not electric. What's missing? What's missing? It's not electric. Something's missing. I gotta find it.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like that's what my brain sounds like as I'm watching the show. I'm like, something's wrong. Something's wrong. I don't know what it is, but something's wrong. I'm not electrified. Yeah.
And that's a perfect word for it because there's so much lighting on stage and your choreography kind of just jumps off the stage. Electric is perfect.
Thank you. It's really, I don't know if I've said that before, but it's certainly what I feel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So thinking of kind of your timeline of involvement as a choreographer, you get to previews and everyone knows what they're doing. You get to opening. Where do you go next? Do you stay around? Do you just see the show?
I get very scared of that sort of post-show depression, and so I usually try to line myself up with another project. So I actually, the day after opening, actually before opening, on the weekends when there are 2 shows where I can't make notes, I'm going to San Diego to start 2 new shows. And then the day after opening, I go and I'm going to be in San Diego for the summer working on 86 at Diversionary and Limpica at La Jolla at the same time. So I really like working, and I sort of avoid the like I can't make any changes, or like I can't see the show, or like my baby's off in the world by making more.
You got to go to the other coast.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you take a break? Or do you?
I mean, well, why? I mean, I think maybe if I'm being honest, I think I don't know. I feel this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be making theater. And so I have a lot of fun. I do it with people I really like. Michael is so incredible. The cast is so incredible that I feel like I experience a lot of joy on a day-to-day basis. And I try to keep that up. I try to, this is my art and my work. So there is a part that feels like, well, I have to make shows because I've got bills to pay, and at the same time, it's what I'm supposed to be doing, and that feeds me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, sure, I get tired. Sure, I experience burnout, but I really love what I do, and I want to do it as much as I can for as long as I can, and no day is promised. So I'd rather, have my continuation be in that I was working.
So thinking on A Strange Loop and this whole experience, what would you say was the biggest surprise?
I thought that I would have a wilder reaction to like Broadway, but I feel so connected to the work that I'm like, it's the show. It's just, this is the show we've been doing, and that Michael has put so much time and effort into, and holds me also to the same integrity, that it's like, yeah, this is really very special that it's on Broadway, and also it's the people that make it, and Broadway's like a space for us, but we are the show. The people involved are the show, and we'll always have that. And so I wasn't expecting to feel that way, but I was like, okay, cool, Broadway, but really what Broadway, it's not just a business, it's not just a money-making machine, it's not just entertainment, and as Michael says in A Strange Loop, it's undercover art, and so, there's this, but then there's this heart, and I try to just keep myself connected to that, and that's not what I thought I was gonna, I thought it was like, Broadway, like, yeah, like parties, and like, big, yeah, Broadway, legal lights, and I'm like, just like, stay in the heart, and that is, again, that was surprising to me, that I went in as opposed to out. Yeah.
So thinking about your work, what are you most proud of?
I'm most proud of the thoughts. When I first met them, I felt that they were a little apprehensive to my process. And not that they were like, we're not doing that, but just like, I'm very rambunctious, I'm very, I strive for, I have like, my standards are high, and I want a lot. And I think they were like, I think they felt a little bit like, we don't do that. But what they do, and they'll never see the show, so they'll never know what they have accomplished, but I see them as people and what they do as people, so like it's so alive and so real and so much movement on that stage. And like I told you, I keep layering. I've only added and added, and they just do it. They do it with so much love and so much joy, and it's not something I've seen on Broadway before. And I feel lucky to have been a part of that, and I feel proud to watch it when I watch it. I'm like, you know, this is on a Broadway stage, and these people and these bodies and who they are is on the stage and is being celebrated. But that is exciting, and I'm very proud to have been a part of that journey for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Focus on being here, focus on celebrating people.
Yeah.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah, I believe so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So since we're at Glass House, do you have a go-to Glass House order?
You know, whatever's strong and quick. So, you know, martini is always at the top of the list because it's, you know, jam-packed with everything you need.
It's efficient.
It's efficient, yeah.
Perfect. So I would love to raise a toast to you to creating new things, exciting things, and really special things. Do you have anything you would like to toast to?
I would love to toast to the audiences that come and see A Strange Loop.
Yeah.
Because while it's enough for us just to do it, it's a real cherry on top for people to experience it night after night after night. And so I raise a glass to them for reflecting joy and inspiration and big Black and queer ass American Broadway shows. More to come.
To A Strange Loop?
Yes.
I feel like we laughed more than we talked.
I mean, I think that's a good place to be. I loved your questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You can now see A Strange Loop, now playing at the Lyceum Theater. Perfect.